how do you talk to people about desire specifically and connecting it with those actions every day and how we're choosing to live?
Yeah, that's a great question. When a desire is born, there's several things that we have to keep in mind. The first thing is keep it close to your heart because it's your desire. It was the desire that was planted into your heart, not anyone else's, not your spouse, not your friend, not your parents, not your siblings, not your kids. It's your desire. It's a connection between you and source or spirit.
Yeah.
And so when that's planted in your heart by the law of polarity, these are just universal laws. The law of polarity states that there's always the opposite in this world. So if you have an up, you have a down. If you have a positive, you have a negative. If you have left, you have a right. Like it's just anywhere you look, there's always the opposite. You have light, you have dark. There's always the opposite side to it with the law of polarity. So when a desire has been planted in your heart or in your imagination, however you want to view this, we are creative beings. We can imagine things. So if you've imagined something, that means that the polar opposite exists, the fruition of it exists. It can become true. You just have to be able to trust. You have to do what's been put in front of you each step at a time. And you have to let go of circumstances of what's going on right in front of you, because your circumstances are just accumulation of all your previous thoughts, resonance, and vibration from the past.
I would love for you to talk about the commitment to the self and how you see that and what your thoughts are about that piece as a starting point for people. Because I think a lot of people think they're committed, but when it comes down to, yeah, the hard moments and the tests and the initiations, it's hard to push through. And then I feel like that's when we realize, oh, I'm not very committed to myself and what I actually desire. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I feel like I've lived most of my life like that. Like I've taken so many leaps of faith. It really starts with tapping into that intuition and carving out time. Like what is it that you desire and how are you going to commit to it, and keep bringing yourself back to, because I think sometimes we think we're committed to it until the going gets hard. Suddenly now it requires you having an uncomfortable conversation to ask for a loan to your loved ones. For example, when I launched my business, I signed up for a very expensive mastermind. I had no idea where I was going to get $20,000 to sign up for this mastermind. But I knew deep down, this is what I needed. This was the mentor I wanted. This was the program, the systems. I knew that if I stuck to it, that this was the key to give me that success.
Yeah.
And I had to go ask for a loan for this because I did not have the money sitting around. Again, it's the same. I put down the deposit with my credit card, and then it's that you'll figure it out. You figure it out. And a great exercise that I like doing is right before you're going to bed and right when you wake up, because that's when you're going into that dream state and your subconscious mind is working. You want to give your subconscious mind some work to do. Because even though you're sleeping, the subconscious mind is still working. So I'll ask the question, like in that case, I'd be like, I have so many examples. This happened to me. We bought a new home. It was only the second home we had bought. We had to remodel it. We got ourselves into a pickle. We needed $50,000. I'm like, where are we going to get $50,000? Or our studio is not going to get remodeled. This is not little amounts of money. It's not like I have $50,000 sitting around there. And I literally, for 3 days straight, I went to bed and I'm like, where is this money? Where can we get $50,000? And so then if you do that right before you go to sleep, you'll either wake up with that idea of where to get that money in your dreams, or you'll wake up in the middle of the night and you just write it down, or you'll wake up in the morning and the idea will come to you, or you'll be meditating first thing in the morning or in the shower and the idea will come to you. That's your intuition. That's your higher self. That's source. It's spirit. It's speaking to you. And it took me 3 days. It was 3 nights that I'd go to sleep until we could figure it out. I had no idea about home equity loans, like I'm sure anyone that owns a home knows about these things. But I was like, isn't there something where you can borrow money against the home you have? Like, I don't know what that is, but I've heard about
Yeah.
that term or something about that.
Yeah.
To someone else right now that knows about this, you're like, please, I would have thought of that. But you have to understand, I had never bought, this was only my second home. I didn't
Yeah.
understand where to get these things. And boom, like that, in 3 days, we manifested that money. So
Right.
you really have to trust that space and doing whatever it requires, because it did require having to go to the bank and have to ask for that and feel a little bit dumb or ignorant, like, I don't know, is this the right place? Is this what we should be asking for? And in the case of when I signed up to this expensive mastermind, which was expensive for me, like I've never spent that kind of money in my education except for college, that's a whole other conversation. Like for college, it does qualify, if you're going to invest 20,000, 50, 100,000. But if you're going to go into a mastermind, I don't know if I should pay that amount of money.
Yeah.
But it required an uncomfortable conversation with my parents, and explaining all this. And they're kind of like coming out of like, well, borrowing that and how, like, it's going to require things. Courage is all related and desires. If you want those desires fulfilled, you're going to have to get courage and you're going to have to sacrifice certain things.
I would love for you to talk a little bit about happiness and joy, because I think happiness is tricky. It's a tricky word for people because everybody has this expectation that we're going to be happy all the time, not in the human experience. The human experience is meant to have crazy emotions that are challenging.
Happiness is not a constant. Like going back to the law of polarity, like there's light, there's darkness, there's happy days, there's frustrating days, and that's something that we have to keep in our awareness. They're just feelings. Happiness is just like feelings. I'm feeling happy today, or I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling upset. I don't consider myself, I'm the type of person that's pretty optimistic. The glass is always half full. I like to see possibility in things.